Life is full of battles, but most people don't realize that the fiercest fight takes place within themselves. Before you ever see victory in your career, relationships, finances, or health, there is an inner training that must take place. Your mind is the battlefield where either limitation or triumph is born. The truth is simple. The quality of your thoughts directly shapes the quality of your life. If you allow fear, doubt, and negativity to rule your mind, your outer world will mirror that chaos. But when you master your thoughts, discipline your mind, and feed it with faith and positivity, victory becomes inevitable. Today, we're going to uncover how to train your mind for life's victories, how to shape your inner world so your outer world reflects success, peace, and purpose. This is not theory. This is practical, actionable wisdom that transforms ordinary people into unstoppable achievers. The battle begins in the mind, and many people never realize that the first victory or defeat in life is determined long before any action is taken on the outside. Your mind is the battlefield where every thought, every hope, and every vision either rises to power or falls to defeat. If your mind is filled with fear, worry, and negativity, those thoughts will inevitably manifest in your life, shaping your circumstances, your decisions, and even your relationships. Most people spend so much time focusing on external solutions, on what they should do or where they should go, without ever stopping to consider the state of their inner world. Yet the truth is that the quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your thinking. What occupies your mind shapes your character, your choices, and ultimately the results you see in every area of life. A mind trained in faith, in positive expectation, and in clarity will naturally produce actions that lead to victory, while a mind overwhelmed with doubt, fear, and distraction becomes fertile ground for failure. It is in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when your thoughts are wandering, that the battle rages the most. That is the moment when you must be aware of every seed planted in your mind, for each seed grows according to the nutrition it receives. Thoughts repeated, entertained, and believed become habits, and habits become a lifestyle. Your mind is not just a passive receiver of information, it is an active force that determines what you attract, what you tolerate, and what you pursue. Every struggle you face, every challenge that comes your way, every barrier you encounter begins with what is happening in your head before it manifests externally. If you can learn to take control of your thoughts, to discipline your mind, to guard it against fear and negativity, you are already halfway to victory. The mental battle is not won in a moment. It is won over time through persistent awareness, deliberate focus, and conscious effort to redirect your thinking toward faith, positivity, and purpose. Understanding that the battle begins in the mind transforms the way you approach life itself, because it shifts your attention from merely reacting to circumstances to actively shaping the reality you desire. Your mind is the command center, the place where every victory must first be imagined, nurtured, and believed before it becomes visible in the world around you. Renewing your mind daily is the foundation for every transformation you desire in life. Yet so many people overlook this essential practice. The mind, like any muscle, requires constant training and exercise. If you feed it with negativity, doubt, and fear, it becomes weak, stagnant, and unprepared for the challenges that life places before you. But when you intentionally renew your mind every single day, when you replace destructive thoughts with thoughts of faith, hope, and purpose, you begin to experience a shift in your entire perspective. Renewal is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process, a daily commitment to discipline your thinking and align it with truth. It begins with awareness, paying attention to the patterns that dominate your inner dialogue. What are the words you allow yourself to dwell on? What beliefs have gone unchallenged that hold you back? Every thought you examine and redirect is a step toward mental freedom. You must take deliberate actions to guard your mind from the distractions, fears, and lies that creep in unnoticed. Daily renewal can take many forms: meditating on principles that uplift, affirming truths that empower, reading wisdom that illuminates, and spending time in reflection that strengthens resolve. These practices are not mere routines. They are investments in the quality of your life. The more consistent you are, the more your mind becomes a fertile field for growth, creativity, and victory. Without this renewal, old patterns resurface, doubts multiply, and negative cycles repeat themselves, making you susceptible to defeat even when opportunities are within reach. But when you commit to renewing your mind, you create a powerful inner environment where faith, clarity, and resilience can flourish. It is this daily practice that allows you to respond to challenges with wisdom rather than frustration, to approach opportunities with confidence rather than hesitation, and to navigate relationships with patience rather than anger. Renewal shapes your character, influences your decisions, and strengthens your ability to persevere. It is the quiet, consistent effort that prepares you to face the pressures of life without being overwhelmed. Your outer victories are the natural result of this inner discipline, for a mind renewed daily is a mind prepared to act with purpose, to think with clarity, and to overcome obstacles that would otherwise seem insurmountable. The power of self-talk is one of the most overlooked forces that shapes every aspect of your life. Yet it is the quiet voice within that often determines whether you succeed or fail. What you say to yourself, the words that echo in your mind day after day, are far more influential than any advice you receive from others or any circumstances you face. Self-talk is the inner dialogue that either strengthens you or weakens you, that either empowers you to move forward with courage or traps you in cycles of fear and doubt. Many people underestimate its impact because it is invisible, subtle, and continuous, but it is the seed from which every habit, every decision, and every outcome grows. If your self-talk is filled with negativity, criticism, and limitation, it plants a mindset of defeat. You may not realize it, but those repeated thoughts become beliefs that quietly dictate your actions. You begin to see yourself through a lens of inadequacy, and your potential becomes clouded by doubt. On the other hand, when you consciously choose words that affirm your worth, your abilities, and your purpose, your mind becomes fertile ground for success. Positive, faith-filled self-talk shifts your perspective and transforms your inner environment into a place where hope, confidence, and resilience can thrive. It is not just about speaking words of affirmation superficially. It is about believing them deeply and allowing them to guide your thinking and decisions. Self-talk shapes your perception of challenges, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth and learning rather than insurmountable barriers. It strengthens your resolve when facing difficulties and reinforces the habits that lead to victory. Every time you catch yourself in a negative thought, it is an opportunity to redirect your mind toward constructive, empowering truths. This daily practice of monitoring and adjusting your self-talk is a form of inner training, a way of mastering your mind so that it serves you rather than sabotages you. When you take control of the voice inside, you are no longer at the mercy of fear, self-doubt, or outside opinions. Your thoughts become allies rather than enemies, and your inner world begins to reflect the life you desire, preparing you for the victories that are waiting to manifest in your outer world. Vision before victory is one of the most powerful principles in life, yet it is often ignored by those who are eager for success, but unwilling to take the time to see it clearly in their minds first. Every great achievement, every remarkable breakthrough, and every lasting success begins as a thought, an image, a picture painted in the mind long before it manifests in the physical world. The mind is the blueprint for your life, and without a clear vision, you risk wandering aimlessly, reacting to circumstances rather than creating your destiny. Vision gives direction, purpose, and clarity. It focuses your energy and aligns your actions with the results you desire. When you take the time to visualize what you want to accomplish, your mind begins to work in harmony with your goals, noticing opportunities that were invisible before and inspiring solutions to challenges that once seemed impossible. But vision is not just daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is seeing with faith what has not yet appeared and refusing to let doubts cloud your focus. It requires discipline, commitment, and constant reinforcement, for the human mind naturally drifts toward fear and limitation if left unchecked. The more vivid and detailed your mental picture, the more power it has to influence your behavior and decisions. A strong vision acts like a magnet, drawing circumstances, resources, and relationships into alignment with your ultimate outcome. It helps you prioritize, guiding you to invest your time, energy, and resources in ways that produce the greatest results. Without a vision, even the most diligent effort can become scattered, wasted on activities that do not contribute to meaningful progress. Vision also fuels resilience. When obstacles arise, those with a clear mental picture of the end goal are able to persevere because they keep their focus on the prize rather than the temporary setbacks. Every step you take becomes purposeful, intentional, and directed because your mind has already rehearsed the path to victory. By seeing your goal in your mind before it appears in your life, you prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the triumph that awaits, and your actions begin to flow naturally in alignment with the vision you hold. Overcoming mental strongholds is one of the most critical steps in mastering your life, yet so many people fail to recognize the invisible chains that hold them back. A mental stronghold is any thought pattern, belief, or mindset that limits your potential, keeping you trapped in fear, doubt, negativity, or past failures. These strongholds are often formed over time, built from repeated experiences, cultural conditioning, or the critical voices that have influenced you since childhood. They are deeply rooted in the subconscious mind, operating quietly and subtly, shaping your decisions, your responses, and your ability to pursue what you truly desire. The challenge is that mental strongholds are powerful because they disguise themselves as truth. They convince you that you are not capable, that you are not worthy, or that circumstances are beyond your control. But the first step in overcoming them is awareness. You must identify the thoughts and beliefs that repeatedly undermine your confidence, sap your energy, or derail your progress. Once you recognize these strongholds, you have the opportunity to confront them head on and replace them with empowering truths that align with your goals, your purpose, and your faith in what is possible. Overcoming a mental stronghold requires deliberate, consistent effort. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of fear or doubt, refusing to speak words of limitation, and intentionally feeding your mind with faith-filled positive and constructive ideas. Every time you challenge a negative thought, every time you refuse to accept the lies your mind has believed for years, you chip away at the stronghold and make room for freedom, clarity, and victory. Prayer, meditation, visualization, and affirmation are tools that strengthen your ability to break free from mental chains. As you dismantle these strongholds, you will notice a shift in how you think, in how you respond to challenges, and in how you approach opportunities. The limitations that once held you back lose their grip, and your mind becomes a place of empowerment, creativity, and purpose. Understanding that mental strongholds are not invincible is crucial because they can be overcome through persistence, awareness, and faith. When you commit to this inner work, you take control of the very foundation that shapes your life, positioning yourself to act with confidence and courage in every situation, and allowing your potential to rise above the barriers that have kept you confined for far too long. Faith in action is the bridge that connects your inner beliefs to the victories you experience in life. Yet so many people misunderstand the relationship between faith and results. Faith is more than just believing in something you cannot see. It is the force that propels you to act despite uncertainty, doubt, or fear. A belief held only in your mind without corresponding action remains dormant and produces no change. True faith moves you, motivates you, and challenges you to step beyond the comfort of what is familiar and safe. It requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to trust in the process even when the outcome is not yet visible. When you act on your faith, you align your inner conviction with outward behavior, and this alignment produces momentum that cannot be stopped by temporary setbacks or external opposition. Every decision you make that reflects your faith strengthens your resolve, reinforces your confidence, and trains your mind to expect victory rather than failure. Faith in action is not reckless, it is intentional, measured, and persistent. It requires you to listen to your intuition, to follow your vision, and to respond consistently to opportunities with boldness and clarity. Often, the world waits to see if your faith is genuine not by your words, but by your deeds, for actions reveal the depth of belief in a way that words never can. Every small step you take in alignment with your convictions builds a pattern of progress that compounds over time, and even when challenges arise, your faith acts as a stabilizing force, keeping your focus steady and your heart determined. Acting in faith also trains your mind to overcome fear, uncertainty, and hesitation because each step reinforces the truth that you are equipped to handle the challenges before you. It is through repeated action that belief becomes experience, and experience becomes confidence. Faith in action is the principle that transforms ideas, dreams, and visions into tangible results, and it demonstrates that what you hold in your heart and mind has the power to manifest in the world around you. Those who succeed consistently are not always those with the greatest talent or resources. They are the ones who take bold, consistent action fueled by unwavering faith, trusting that their inner conviction will guide them to victory, and that persistence in the face of uncertainty is the key to turning potential into reality. Consistency builds inner strength, and it is one of the most underestimated principles in achieving lasting success and personal victory. Many people desire change, growth, and progress, but they expect results from occasional effort rather than steady, persistent action. True inner strength is not formed in moments of excitement or temporary motivation. It is developed through repeated discipline, through habits cultivated day after day, and through the unwavering commitment to keep going even when the results are not immediately visible. Every time you choose to act according to your purpose, to train your mind, to focus your thoughts, or to take steps toward your goals, you are building strength that becomes a foundation for every challenge you will face. Consistency trains your mind to resist doubt, fear, and distraction. It conditions your spirit to remain steadfast, patient, and resilient, even in the midst of trials and setbacks. The human mind naturally drifts toward comfort, excuses, and procrastination, but those who practice consistency develop a mental and spiritual discipline that allows them to rise above the ordinary and reach for the extraordinary. It is the small, repeated actions, the daily decisions to read, reflect, plan, and act with intention that compound over time and create a powerful momentum that cannot be easily stopped by obstacles or opposition. Consistency also strengthens your confidence because it proves to your inner self that you are reliable, capable, and committed to your own growth. Each day of disciplined effort reinforces the belief that you are equipped to handle challenges, overcome adversity, and pursue opportunities with determination. This inner strength translates outwardly, influencing your choices, your behavior, and your capacity to persevere when circumstances are difficult. It is the quiet, unseen work, the daily alignment of thoughts, actions, and intentions with your purpose that prepares you for the moments when life demands courage, clarity, and endurance. Consistency is not glamorous, nor does it always produce immediate recognition, but it creates the backbone for every lasting victory. It is through repeated practice, through steadfast dedication and through the refusal to give in to discouragement, that your inner strength becomes unshakable, forming the core of your character and the basis upon which every triumph is built. Those who master consistency learn to rely on their disciplined inner strength rather than fluctuating motivation, ensuring that their mind, body, and spirit are always ready to meet the demands of life and to rise above the challenges that seek to pull them down. Mastering your mind leads to freedom, and it is one of the greatest keys to living a victorious and fulfilled life. Yet so many people live in bondage without realizing that the chains that hold them are primarily mental. Freedom begins in the mind, because every choice you make, every reaction you have, and every path you take originates there. When your mind is controlled by fear, doubt, worry, or past failures, you are enslaved to circumstances, constantly reacting to life rather than creating it. True freedom is not about the absence of challenges. It is about the ability to navigate those challenges with clarity, peace, and authority. Mastering your mind means recognizing that your thoughts are not just passive experiences, but active forces that shape your reality. It means taking deliberate control over what you focus on, what you believe, and what you allow to influence your inner world. Every time you discipline your thoughts, reject negativity, and embrace constructive, empowering ideas, you gain a measure of control that cannot be taken away by external events. Mental mastery also requires awareness of the patterns and habits that have governed your thinking for years, some of which may have been inherited, conditioned, or reinforced over time. By identifying and addressing these patterns, you begin to break the cycles that have limited your potential and restricted your freedom. When you consistently practice this inner discipline, you no longer allow fear, doubt, or past mistakes to dictate your decisions. You learn to respond with wisdom instead of reacting impulsively, to act with faith instead of hesitation, and to pursue opportunities with confidence instead of anxiety. Mastering your mind transforms your perception of reality, giving you the power to see possibilities where others see obstacles, solutions where others see problems, and hope where others see despair. This inner mastery fosters independence from the opinions of others, from the pressures of circumstance, and from the weight of unresolved emotions, because your actions and your choices are no longer driven by external forces, but by a centered, disciplined, and focused inner self. As your mind becomes your ally rather than your adversary, you experience the kind of freedom that allows you to act boldly, think creatively, and live with purpose, because you are no longer bound by the limitations that once held you back, and every decision, every thought, and every action becomes a deliberate step toward the life you were meant to lead. In the end, every victory you experience on the outside is a reflection of the training, discipline, and mastery that has taken place on the inside. Life will continue to present challenges, obstacles, and moments that test your faith, your resolve, and your focus, but the mind that has been trained, renewed, and disciplined becomes a place of strength, clarity, and resilience. When you commit to daily inner work, watching your thoughts, speaking life to yourself, envisioning your goals, confronting strongholds, acting in faith, remaining consistent, and taking control of your mind, you build a foundation that cannot be shaken by circumstance. The power to win in life does not come from luck, chance, or even sheer talent. It comes from the intentional, persistent cultivation of your inner world. As you continue to shape your thoughts, align your actions with your vision, and walk in faith and discipline, you will find that life responds in ways that feel almost effortless, because your mind, your will, and your spirit are working together toward the victories that are rightfully yours. Freedom, confidence, and success are not distant dreams. They are the natural outcome of a mind that has been trained, a spirit that has been strengthened, and a heart that refuses to settle for anything less than what it was created to achieve.